We have a few more to practice in section 2.3, number 1. And there's one new thing we have to talk about. So let's look at this problem F and tell me what is different about it. What are we not prepared for? X to the third, or the cubed factor. Okay, did everybody see that? Now let's talk about what we learned yesterday. What did we learn about plain old factors? When we get to them, we just go right through them. What happens when we have a squared factor? When we get to it, we bounce off of it? What do we do with a cubed factor? Well, let me show you. Let me get my dots up here. Remember, every x gets a dot. So there's going to be a dot at 3 and a dot at -1. Is everybody good with that? Yes. Every x is going to get a dot. So if you have 2 parentheses with x's, then you're going to have those 2 dots. And where do the dots go? The opposite of what's in there. Right? Okay. If you did multiply all this out, how many x's would you have? X to what power? 4. That's even, right? And remember, evens start up and end up. Those are evens. So this thing starts up here. Starts up. 4th power, x to the 4th altogether, up. Now, what does it do when it hits that dot? Now remember, that dot came from this parentheses. It just goes through it because that parentheses is just regular. Now it's going to turn around and come back up here, right? But here's where the new part is. If you have a cubed factor, you go through just like this one did, but you don't go straight through, you like squiggle through. So this picture looks like this. This factor, which is a cubed factor, means that I squiggle my way through. And that squiggle is exactly what you have with a tangent curve or with your x cubed curve. It's that squiggle motion. And that's it. We're done. Easy. Let's look at the next one. First thing we're going to do is put our dots on. Where are the dots going to go? -1. And please don't lose points because you're too lazy to label. Label. -1, 0. 3, 0. And -2, 0. Everybody okay with that? Yes. All right, let's count up our x's. How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is another even, x to the 4th, which should be up. But what is changed? Negative. The negative. So instead of being up, it's going to be down. So we're going to start down here. And what are we going to do when we get to the -2? Again, pay attention to the factor. The factor for -2 is right here, right? It's a plain factor. There's no squaring or cubing, so what does it do? It just goes through. And it has to turn around and come down to this one. Remember, all the dots are connected, but not with straight lines. Smooth flowing curves. All right, where did this one come from? Right here? Well, that one's not squared either, so it's just going to go straight through that one. And what happens here?
Down.
That's a bounce, because that's a squared factor, and when the factor is squared, you don't go through, you bounce back the direction you came from. Everybody okay with that? All right, let's look at the last one in this section. There's a lot going on. Okay, so we have a negative. And I don't want you to get all hung up about the 1/3. You do have to pay attention to the negative though. All right, so where are my dots gonna go? -2. So even those of you that were absent yesterday and didn't watch the video yet, you're getting this. The dots go at the opposite. So it's gonna be -2, 1, and 3. Every X gets a dot. So there's an X, there's an X, there's an X, so there's 3 dots. Now, how many X's altogether? 3, 4, 5, 6? That's even. Even is up, up. But it's negative, so it's down, down. So we're starting down here. Oh, I'm going to be careful because this is my special dot. See that? So what do I have to do when I draw this? I have to have a distinct curve in there. So there is my distinct curve. Right? I don't want to go straight through. I want to have this definite curvy shape. And then I'm going to turn around and come down to here. Now what happens when I hit that one? Straight through it. No squiggle there. It just goes straight through it. It's going to come back up and hit that one. And then it's going to bounce back down because that one is a square. Okay, everybody good with that? No? What question did we have? Where are we confused? We got our squiggly shape through here. And those are, I know those are hard to draw. You just got to do your very best. Squiggle it through. Come straight through that one and bounce off that one. And we're not going to be worried about, remembering that evens are up, up, because parabolas are even, right? X squareds, isn't that even? Up, up. Starts up, ends up. Whereas cubes, which are odd, start down and end up. You already know that. Nothing special to memorize. Right? He's not writing anything down, is he? Don't write on that. Tomorrow's sign-up day. All right, so now what we're going to do, guys, is the opposite of that. So take a look at problem 2A. The picture is drawn, oh bless you, the picture is drawn for you, and you're going to write the equation. That's exactly right, Shiloh, good work. Yep, you read the directions. That's always a good thing.
Yes, ma'am.
All right? So, this is not hard at all. You're going to start the same way you started these. Didn't you start these by looking at the parentheses and putting those dots on? So now go backwards. Look at the dots and write your parentheses. So what will my parentheses be? They'll be x plus 2, x minus 1, x minus 3.
Wouldn't it be x minus 1 squared?
Okay, now wait. So first of all, we're going to write our parentheses, right? We're going to write our parentheses. Then we're going to pay attention to what is happening at each one of these dots. That one's passing through. But he's right. This one is bouncing off, which means the parentheses for this guy has to be squared. So that's this one. And then that one goes straight through. Okay, so now the factors are all taken care of. But what we don't know is, what is this number out in front? Remember how like this one had a -1/3 and other times they have other numbers? How do you suppose we're going to figure out that number? Plug this guy in right here. This is a random extra point that has nothing to do with the parentheses, agreed? The parentheses come from here. So that random point is going to get plugged in. So y is 2 and x is 0. So whatever that random point is, wherever it is, you're going to plug in the y and then the x. All right, so we work it out. So what have we got here? 0 plus 2. 0 minus 1 squared. And 0 minus 3. So multiplying it all together, we have 2 times 1 times negative 6, or negative 3, which is negative 6. Oh, did you get negative 1/3? So that's our n, and there's your equation.
So what number is just when you find that number?
What?
So the y number is just for find the number out front.
Yes.
Otherwise you don't get it.
Yep. By the way, are you surprised that that turned out to be a negative? Not at all, because the picture is down, down. So you knew you needed a negative there. All right, come on. Stay with me. All right, here we go. We're going to write the equation. So start with the basics, and the basics are right here, those x-intercepts. So what are you starting with? X plus 4 plus 2 minus 3. Perfect. Now, don't forget to look carefully at what's happening at those points. It looks to me like every single one of them is going straight through. So what does that tell me? None are squared. So that's it. Those are my factors. I don't know, though, this guy. But I will find him by putting in 0 for x and negative 3 for y. So 4 and 2 and negative 3. What does all that make? Negative 24. So when I divide, it looks like n is going to be positive 1/8. 1/8. So this is the answer to the question. Does it surprise you that that number is positive? No, because this is a cube, and cubes start down and end up. Oh my. Shiloh, you can survive a few more minutes. It'll be all right.
They didn't have food in their class today.
Oh my gosh. Well, I always have snacks, you know that. Mine are way cheaper than theirs. Of course, I don't have tater tots and all that other stuff. All right, here we are. Here we are. We're going to write the equation of this curve. Now, there's something a little bit different about this one. There's a dot at the origin. Now, I know that this factor would be x plus 2. And I know that that one would be x minus 3, right? Everybody's okay with that?
Yes.
What do you think that one is? Either x plus 0, x minus 0, or plain old x. If you don't, if there's no number attached to it, you're either going to attach a 0 or you're going to just leave it blank. It's a plain old x. So here's the x plus 2, here's the x minus 3. Now, exactly. Don't get carried away. Look right here. See that bounce? That tells me this one is squared. See that bounce? That tells me the x is squared. That is not squared. Is everybody okay with that? The only thing I don't know is that. And this time, this is your random point. Your random point can be anywhere. It doesn't have to be a y-intercept. It can be anywhere. So now I'm going to put a 2 in here and a 2 in for every single x. Every x is going to become a 2. So 2 squared is 4. Watch it here. 2 plus 2 is 4, but it's squared, so it's 16. So 4 times 16, negative. So negative 64 n. So it looks like n is going to be negative 1 over 32. If we divide both sides by negative 64. So I just bring that up here, put it right here. And that is your equation. Is that all right with everybody? So easy. Well, there's one more. Let's get the last one done for us. You guys are fine. You act like you haven't eaten in weeks.
Since yesterday.
Since yesterday? Listen, if you didn't eat breakfast, that's your problem.
I will go down there like 8 o'clock.
All right. Now, I hate this problem. I included it because there are some in your book like this. Not like this, there'll be some like that where I draw the picture. But I want you to understand that this really doesn't tell you enough. Because if those are the zeros, I'm good with that. That means my factors are x plus 1, x minus 2, x minus 4. Remember, zeros are another name for x-intercepts. So those are these dots right here, okay? So that means x plus 1, x minus 2, x minus 4. But without the picture, what do I not know?
Power.
Yeah, I have no idea what the powers are. So I'm going to leave them off. I don't know what they are. I have no idea. So I'm just going to go ahead and assume they're all first power because there's no way for me to know. And then what? Plug 10 in for y and 1 in for x. Make sure you're putting in the second number for the y. So it looks like I have 2, -1, and -3.
6.
So that'd be +6.
And you'll have 5/3.
And that's gonna be 5/3 when I reduce it. And that's what I end up with. Understanding, of course, that given that information, I could have squared factors, I could have cube factors, I have no idea. So I'm just leaving that out. So when you do those problems in your homework that are worded that way without a picture, just assume they're all straight factors. All right, my friends, I'll see you back here at 50. At 50. Not 75, not 84, 50. 1. 5, 0.